Coming to you live, this is, as always, Night Terrors Radio. We have a fantastic show lined up for you tonight. I, however, might get carried away to someplace other than Kansas, as outside my very window, the shit is storming. Yes, because I'm in the Midwest, and in fact, in Tornado Alley, we have a severe thunderstorm happening right outside my window, so you might see the lights flicker and dim a little bit, but that's okay. We're going to be okay. Most importantly, I'm going to be okay. So if one of the three of us is okay, at least it'll be me, and that's what counts. And that special event doesn't cost you anything. As cheap as I am, that doesn't cost us anything at all. So we got a great show lined up for us tonight. We've got Adam Steigert. He is in the guest chair. How are you doing tonight, Adam? It's like an invasion. So what we're gonna we're so very excited to get Mark's reaction on this because Mark was a detractor for the longest time, didn't want to see it. I think that's just you. Haven't you ever watched Pornhub, Mark? Come on. This is how family relationships work now, apparently. I think we've got Rob Pastilli on the line. Hold on, guys. Okay, let me hear what we're talking about. Or what I'm talking about. I know, but there's such a delay.
Oh, interesting.
I think they're heading down to the Florida.
Oh, Florida. Okay, not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I am not. I'm headed to New York City.
Oh, well, that's not nearly as much fun.
Oh, Florida. Okay, not bad.
You've got a cat NATO.
make any kind of, smart alecky character, to recreate him. I loved all the nods, all the little subtle nods to the original.
Now,
So the
was
whole trilogy too, like the whole, she just cut off her arm. Does that sound fine? And, I was like, oh my god, I just cut off my girlfriend with a chainsaw. Does that sound fine?
now were you happy with the quality of the tree rape?
Even with the originals, I could have done without the whole tree rape. That's
the tree rape.
I'm not a big fan of rape scenes as it is. Like that's a thing that'll usually I'll turn a movie right off if there's a rape scene because that bothers me a lot. So I mean this was at least it was tastefully done as far as as rape scenes can go and.
Yeah, and you could say maybe she wasn't really raped because the thing only wrapped around her leg and kind of caressed it up. It never. We don't see anything.
I wouldn't even say it was rape. It just used that as a passage to get inside her and possess her. It wasn't really the old in out kind of thing. It was in, and then it overtook her. So that was more of a possession scene, really, than a rape scene.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was going to ask you about is, did you watch the post-credit scene?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. That was a nice touch. I saw something. I read something after I watched it because I went and was read all the trivia on IMDb and did all this. And I saw something. I was like, that makes sense. It's how most fans see that as Bruce Campbell giving his approval. And I was like, yeah.
And that was before. That was before Ash versus the Evil Dead, too.
Right, because there were big plans, actually. Fede Alvarez and Tapert and Raimi and Campbell all had these big plans that what was supposed to happen was that we were supposed to get this Mia movie, which we got. Then we were going to get a season of Ash versus Evil Dead. Then apparently we were going to get an Evil Dead 2 with Mia coming back. And then there was going to be a film with both Mia and Ash in it. So that was the long-term plan for the Evil Dead series, was that eventually Mia and Bruce are going to be united, and then it just went a completely different direction. But I kind of like the idea that we'd see them both in a film together. I mean, that'd be pretty kick-ass in my opinion.
That would have been pretty awesome. But another thing I like too is kind of her story arc where she was possessed and then she wasn't. Kind of like when Ash got possessed in the beginning of Evil Dead 2 and then got out of it. That happened to her as well. So she had known the evil from had an insider's view of what this evil is all about, the same way Ash did.
Very intimate.
I thought that was a nice, yeah, exactly. So I thought that was nice. I love the fact that at one point she looks down and that necklace is on the ground and it's in the same skull shape that the necklace was from the originals too. There were just so many little things in it that were nods to the original. And then that last scene with the thing coming out of the ground that was the original movie poster.
And if you watch any of the special features on the Blu-ray, they make a really interesting point because they talk about this idea of where the film fits into the universe. And one thing that they talk about is that this is really just sort of like the book making its rounds. And I kind of like that they attached that idea. This is sort of just the Necronomicon making its rounds. It could be in more than one place.
And I was...
Well, it could just check that in the library.
What's that?
Someone different check it out of the library.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. But one thing that annoyed me to no end though. Okay, you find this book in this blocked off room that's wrapped in a garbage bag and barbed wire. You don't open it. It's okay, there's a reason somebody wrapped this thing in plastic bag and barbed wire.
Of course,
it's just don't do
Mark,
it.
looking back on my younger years,
and then you start reading it.
I remember my younger years, Mark, where I was in a car with people I didn't know, and someone said, "Smoke this," and guess what I did? I smoked it. I had no idea what it was or where it came from or its harmful effects or the fact that it said Conda on the side of it. I smoked it anyways. So just knock that
And
one
he
up
woke
to
up
like,
the next morning. He woke up the next morning and his bottom was extremely sore.
well, it's because 50 minutes later I said smoke
Let's
this.
let's just say the evil was inside of him.
What is the evil? In all honesty, what is the evil? I mean, I don't know where. I mean, it does it have a shape? It doesn't have a shape, does it?
I think the closest we get to it is, at the end of Evil Dead 2, that bizarre sort of tree demon with the big face that, pops its head
yes.
inside the cabin.
Well,
Yeah.
even that may have just been the tree being alive and getting possessed by the evil.
Because it's probably
It may have just been that big. Well, no, because that was from the book. It's just some weird like Kandarian spirit or something.
But I think it's also like an environmental thing. We probably got that big tree demon because that was there for the Kandarian demon to sort of manifest itself. So it'll be interesting if we get, an Evil Dead Rise, since now we're going into an apartment complex. It'll be interesting to see how this entity will manifest itself now.
That's what they needed to do all along. And they needed to take it from the cabin and put it into a more apocalyptic feel. They were trying to do that with Army of Darkness Part 3 with the alternate ending, if you remember.
Yeah.
And it just didn't happen.
If I remember right, Ash had like a whole fan fiction written about starting off of that alternate.
I wrote an Evil Dead 4, but in my world, and this is what was okay, and people are probably going to hate me for this, right? But at the time, that was when Bruce was like, "Oh, we're going to do one, then we're not going to do one, we're going to do one, we're not going to do one," and I thought to myself, if I had an opportunity, I'd probably just say, I love the fact that you were in this, Bruce, but I also look, as much as I love Bruce Campbell and as much as Ash is one of my favorite characters of all time, I do look at these characters as sort of being like James Bond or Batman. It's like at some point, the character itself has a life, and you sort of have to look at it like Ian Fleming looked at it, when he wrote Bond, is that Bond is always going to be James Bond. The number is going to be the same. It's the spirit, of the agent, really, is what it is. So, in my mind, my Evil Dead 4, are you ready for my casting? Does anybody want to hear it? Anybody interested?
Hang on. I think we need to have a guess before. Like we'll each pick two people who we guess, who we think Ash would have picked. My two choices.
Ash would have picked. This is going to be called Ash on Ash, which sounds very obscene, and that's
Ash
fine.
on Ash.
We're going to use it anyways. Or Ash to Ash, if you remember Requiem for a Dream. Ash to Ash! Just like they said in Requiem for a Dream. So we just got to get
two guesses. And I'm going with the time period here, too, because this is probably, I want to say around 97, 98, about when you were doing this, maybe 96. It was when we were doing the band.
Okay.
I'm going to guess Nicolas Cage or Ben Affleck.
Yeah. What about you, Adam? Even not knowing me all that well, put two actors out there.
I would say, was there a time zone? Like not time zone, time period?
Yeah, it was probably late 90s.
I could see Nicolas Cage because every kid was at that age, because I was a kid during that time, loved Nicolas Cage. But I'm not going to think Nicolas Cage here. I'm going to think I'm going to throw on a limb. What about Ken Foray? All right? Ken Foray next to Bruce Campbell. And then one other actor. It'd have to be a really good classic, like horror icon. I'm going to go with the female actress, Dee Williams.
Ooh. See, that is particularly inspired. I will say that neither you or Mark really sort of hit the nail on the head, at least, where I was coming from. But a guy that I thought...
What about me?
It was going to be Rob Basile. That's who was going to know. But
I was...
Let's get Rob's picks.
I was Bill Cosby and Heather Langenkamp.
I would love to see Bill Cosby take up the mantle of Ash.
I've got that chainsaw for an arm.
Condom, Klaatu, Verona.
The sweaters would have been amazing.
Oh, I know. Different sweater every scene, just to see who would get it. That there was a different Cosby sweater at every scene. Okay, so my choice to pick up the mantle in my Evil Dead 4 was going to be Jason Lee. I thought
Jason Lee.
I thought he would have made
All
an
right.
amazing Ash Williams. He's got that sort of like same slapstick kind of humor that Bruce Campbell has. He's got this weird sort of like, the chiseled chin. Like, I just thought if there was going to be a guy that could step into it and sort of be that over the top sort of hokey kind of, comedic action horror star, I think it was going to be, in my opinion, Jason Lee.
I totally misunderstood this question. I thought you were asking who would be in the film with Bruce Campbell.
No. It's who would take the mantle of Ash.
Oh, my God. That is such an easier question. I'm just kidding. I don't know if some...
So
the girl that played Mia. The girl that played Mia, I could see, but I don't know
Jane
anybody from the
Levy.
90s.
Yeah.
But I was not far off with the Affleck guess.
Well, it's same sort of concentric circles.
Yeah,
I just
Shannon Hamilton. Come on.
like I just thought that
Fashionable
Jason Lee
male.
would have been great in that. Like I really want to see Jason Lee in like a balls out horror film.
Jason Lee, yeah, okay. All right. What's his name? Patrick, the guy that's in the Conjurings.
Oh, yeah.
Patrick. He
I
would
wouldn't
be
mind
like I
him.
never thought he would. I didn't
Who
think
is
he would
this?
be good in Aquaman as a superhero or a super villain, and he was pretty good, man. I
I
enjoyed
wouldn't
that.
mind him a bit. And plus, he's got those hair plugs now. Did anybody remember seeing Hard Candy when he almost had like no
Mhm.
I
hair?
don't think I.
And then 3 years later, it's like, hey, somebody's looking for a lead role.
Yeah.
It's like a reverse before and after. Like when you see old pictures of Joel McHale and you see him now, you're like, oh, Mr. McHale, I know where your money went. You're not just a client, are you, Mr. McHale? Yeah.
That's where that community money went.
That's
I
what
want.
it
Can I ask you? Can I ask you guys, since just to take away from a little bit from Evil Dead? Now that we know Mark likes it, thankfully, he'll be
likes
watching
it.
it pretty regularly. I assume, Mark.
Yeah, I'll probably give it another watch or three.
Give it one
Likes it.
more time. What about? Are you guys interested into zombie films of like the 80s and stuff, 70s?
Yeah.
There's a film that knocked off Dawn of the Dead, and it has like several names. It's one of them is called Hell of the Living Dead, I think is one of the names, and it's a ripoff of Dawn of the Dead in a sense, where the costumes. I think that the writer or the director rather might have been working with Romero back then.
And it's Italian,
got-
correct? It's Italian dubbed.
It's Italian. Yeah. It might have been Argento, but I'm not entirely sure if that was. But anyways, the
It
movie's
might have
so
been. It
terrible.
might have been Fulci.
Fulci. That might be who it is. Yeah. Yeah. But that movie's so terrible, it's good because when I was a kid, I actually thought it was a sequel to Dawn of the Dead because the same music, it had the goblin music.
Oh yeah.
It was just really a cool film.
And the way they build it was that in Italy, Dawn of the Dead became like Zombie 2 or something, like because they gave it an alternative title. So that movie, the Fulci movie, actually fit right in there because they gave it like a zombie number moniker to make sure that it fit in there. But I mean, you can't go wrong with an Italian movie where a zombie fights a shark.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm trying to look it up right now. What that was Zombie though, wasn't it? The zombie shark fight scene.
Right, Zombie.
Yeah,
took
that was
place in Zombie, but then there was
Yeah.
Hell of the Living Dead. There was or City of the Living Dead.
City of the Living Dead. That's probably what it is. Because I'm trying to look it up right now, and I'm only finding reviews for Hell of the Living Dead. I don't even see City of the Living Dead.
Yeah, so it was probably under City of the Living Dead, and that sounds
Yeah.
about right.
1980. Oh yeah, this is it. Well, this one has a different name on it though. Although when you search it out, it's City of the Living City of the Dead.
Now here's one that's reaching
But
back.
I think
in
that is the
pocket
one
here.
because that is the Fulci one. And
Yeah.
they did have some New York scenes in it too.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of cool. They were just walking on, what was it, the bridge, the Manhattan Bridge? Is that what that was?
I think it was the Brooklyn Bridge, right?
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there was one that me and Ash found forever ago. It was this weird Night of the Living Dead parody. It's called Night of the Day of the Dawn of the Sun of the Bride of the Return of the Revenge of the Terror of the Attack of the Evil Mutant Alien Flesh-Eating Hellbound Zombified Living Dead Part 2 in shocking 2D.
Oh yeah.
That's the name?
That was the name of it. And basically they took Night of the Living Dead and just did voiceovers over the whole thing, put random cuts of stuff that made no sense in the middle of it, and it was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I was going to put Jason Lee in that one too.
Yeah.
So did you Mark, did you see City of the Dead? The Living Dead?
I did not.
It has a few minutes which are kind of cringy to watch because he has some really graphic violence in his stuff. And it looks surreal, almost like Cannibal Holocaust. Cannibal Holocaust, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Is that the right phrase?
Yeah.
I get that one mixed up with Trey Parker, Matt Stone film.
Oh, Cannibal the musical.
Cannibal the musical, yeah.
I would love a
That's
merge of those two movies. And
Did
I
you
thought we were
ever,
going to get that with Green Inferno, but we just got a guy jerking off.
Oh. Did you guys ever see let's see, what was the other one I was going to say? I don't know what I was going to say. Screw it. I guess I don't know what I was going to tell you. Damn it.
You know,
what was the one that I saw that was, I think it was Demon, where
I
they're in the
love
theater
Demons.
and somebody put the mask on. And
That's
it possessed
Demons, yeah,
them
because
and
they're in the
turned them into
movie
a zombie.
theater.
Yeah.
And in the American version,
that
they
was
put a bunch of like 80s new wave songs in it. They had a bunch of like 80s stuff, like Billy Idol was on the American soundtrack for that, which had to have been like all their money, right? Because like sync licenses are fucking super expensive, and they had like a whole
I'm trying
of 80s songs.
I was trying to find the what I was trying to remember was there was another film, and I totally don't know the name of it, but it ripped off various like early 90s Jaws films, or not 90s Jaws film, but Jaws films in general, and early 90s shark films. And I am so surprised that film didn't get sued. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like something with a shark in it. I saw a review on YouTube recently about it, and I couldn't turn away from it. Like how did they not get sued for showing?
I know
they showed
exactly
some of
what
the
you're talking about. I cannot think of the title of it, but even the VHS box like had almost a ripoff of that iconic 80s Jaws poster.
Was it?
Yeah, it was like only it was slanted. I guess it's like their spin on it was like, hey, we can do this under parody law. They like slanted the poster a little bit, and the girl was different because she was like, it was a girl, but it was like a girl in an inner tube. It was really weird. Yeah.
Underwater, no one can hear you scream.
Well, all I can remember is that their sheriff was like built up as this like main character, and then all of a sudden he just got capped.
Oh yeah.
At the very end, and it was like, I think I hope I'm remembering the right one, but I'm pretty sure there was a sheriff in there, and it was supposed to be like a Brody type of character.
Oh, it was the Jaws template. Like they just took that template and just dropped the shit in there like where they wanted it.
There was one really, actually two really bad movies because I worked on the second one. It was Trees and Trees 2, The Root of All Evil. It was basically Jaws ripoff, but instead of a shark, it was a tree, and then the second one was multiple trees.
Oh, I gotta get another beer for this.
And, they were so bad. The second was a lot of fun to work on.
There's another.
They even cast a guy that looked just like Brody.
Wasn't the movie Orca? Didn't the producers and the makers of the movie Orca get sued?
Orca. Orca.
because they
Orca is a good film. It's a terrible film, but it's a good film. They did really well on Orca, but they ripped off completely Jaws. They completely ripped it off, and there was some type of suit, I think, with Orca.
Oh,
Yeah,
Orca?
that's what I was saying. Like, I'm trying to remember, but there was some sort of a lawsuit between, the Jaws people and the Orca people because of the like blatant ripoff of like the ship scenes where the whale comes up on the back of the ship.
Oh, yeah.
And all the, but I don't remember the actual suit. And it was one of those weird things where like I haven't seen Orca in years now. I'm gonna have to watch it, but I'm wondering if like on IMDb or one of those places there's information about the lawsuit.
I just love that we exist in a world where there's two camps of people. The Jaws people and the Orca people. It sounds so epic.
Is that really a thing? Is that really a thing?
I would think that there is. It makes me feel better. It makes my life better.
So, you know what we need though is Orcanado.
Oh no!
I have got a very important question for you guys. This is very important and very, very serious. Okay, it's not so serious. It's very important. So, we've got, I mean, for Evil Dead lovers, in my opinion, we've got a lot of cake to eat, right? We did get a lot of stuff. We got the first Evil Dead, which I love. The second Evil Dead, which is just incomparable. It's really hard to find something for me to live up to the second Evil Dead. I love Army of Darkness for as goofy and schlocky and sticky as it. I love Army of Darkness. I love the 2013 Evil Dead. I love Ash vs. Evil Dead, the series in its entirety. I mean, we, as Evil Dead lovers, we've got a lot to chew on, right? But I always feel like there were some franchises that could have moved forward and we never got that sequel or we never got that series. If you guys could pick one property that we need a sequel to, like a kick-ass sequel, what property would that be?
Gremlins.
So are we nixing Gremlins 2 then, the new batch?
I can say it exists, but we won't talk about it.
Okay.
Okay. I don't mind it.
It's fun, right? I've always thought Gremlins 2 was a lot of fun. But let's face it, tonally it's a far different movie than the original.
Very much, yeah. Yeah. That's like if you watch Return of the Living Dead 1 and Return of the Living Dead 2. Okay? Like they were going to have Tarman in there look almost identical to the original Tarman. And that director, every interview I've ever watched, I actually know Tom Matthews.
Yeah.
And every time I hear about any of this, it's always in a negative light about Return of the Living Dead Part 2. Always. It's always bad about the director. They wanted to make it more funny for younger audiences or something. And I don't know, they missed the beat with the Michael Jackson. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a completely different movie. It feels like, to me, it feels like we had Return of the Living Dead, which Dan O'Bannon is a great writer. I mean, responsible for Alien. Dan O'Bannon, he was also responsible for my favorite heavy metal sequence in the movie too. The zombie World War II people in heavy metal, the animated movie. Oh. So Dan O'Bannon, just a great writer, like across the board. So we have this fantastic Return of the Living Dead, and then it felt like Sci-Fi got the rights and said, we need to make a sequel. And that's sort of what we got with Return of the Living Dead 2. It still holds sort of a place in my heart because it has a very cheesy, like C-grade 80s metal soundtrack to it. Yeah. Which I kind of love.
Sammy Hagar.
But look at the soundtrack to the original. Look at the punk soundtrack we had. We had the Exploited, we had the Damned, we had the Cramps. Like that.
Yeah, the Cramps.
Yeah, it's like a quintessential fucking punk soundtrack to a movie. It was awesome. Yeah. And then the second one comes along and it's like, how would you guys like a little bit of Warrant on your soundtrack? And it's like, maybe a different crowd. Maybe.
Well, the beginning is like
the Exploited a while back. They opened for Gwar.
Isn't the beginning of
Wow.
that movie? I haven't watched it in a bit, but in the beginning of that, like, do you remember the one version of Jaws 4 where it opens up and you hear the guy narrating the beginning of the movie?
Yeah.
Did you ever see that
Yeah.
version of it? Okay, that wasn't there like a narration in the beginning about chemical X or whatever it was called, and then it freezed frame as the can fell off the truck.
Yeah, because there's
Wasn't there a voice?
I think there is, because I think there's like two different versions of Eternal Living Dead too. There's one that has this slightly like weirder narrative, you know, and that has that voiceover and some of those freeze frame shots. And then we have sort of like the Friday night, we got to get this movie over with version, which is like so fast. You don't even like the beats that it hits are like just double bass beats. It's so fast, the entire movie, that you don't even have time to breathe. And at the end of it, you're just like, I remember that a head got a screwdriver in it. Like that's what you walk away with.
I remember a couple scenes from that movie. One was, what was the president's name at the time?
Oh,
the guy, that old guy, what's the president's name? And the zombie responds. And I think he said Eisenhower or,
like
or
J. Hoover,
Roosevelt?
like Hoover or something
Hoover,
like that,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Hoover, yes.
And then I just love the like Return.
Dude, they threw brains.
Oh
they
yeah,
threw brains.
they electrocuted him, right? Didn't they stick like?
Yeah.
Like how fucking goofy is that? Like me thinking about it now, like I just want to laugh. Like it's so fucking goofy.
I've watched it a few times. I'm gonna have to revisit because I don't remember a lot of
Well,
this.
like how dystopian
It's been a while since
is
I've
the
seen
first
it.
film? The first film is like just ends on like the ultimate fucking downer. It's like, good fight, kids, but sorry, you're gonna be put, you're gonna be put in 150-mile radius Cuisinart. You're not gonna survive this. And then the second film, it's like, just shock those brains. Look at those zombies die. You know, it's such a different.
There's some
movie.
good moments in that. There is some good moments in that movie, but overall, I definitely think they missed the mark with the tone of it.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I think it should have been darker than the lighter than it was.
Well, even like the look of it, like when you watch the first like Return of the Living Dead, it's a very, I mean, dark film in the color palette. Like the blacks in Return of the Living Dead are like pitch black. Like we've got this really bold contrast. And then we get to Return of the Living Dead 2, and it's like there's not a dark scene in it. Like everything has a blue hue. We're gonna show all this makeup. We're gonna make sure that nothing's in the shadows. It's just so different. It's like for two movies to be so far apart, it's so weird. And then of course,
well, you know, they were saying too, if you ever get a chance, check out that behind the scenes feature for Return of the Living Dead 2. It's kind of interesting because they were saying, I think they were saying there was a different script initially that brought all the original people back.
Oh, wow.
And then as this new director came on, it basically, he made it more of a farce than anything else. But
yeah,
then you
weird.
have
now what about
then you
the
have
third one?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Then you have part 3, which is like a weird crossover between Pet Sematary 2,
right,
and Return of the Living Dead 5, or 4.
So
it's just a very. I didn't like that
when
one.
I saw Return, because it's about the girlfriend, right? If I'm getting the chronology right. Okay.
Yeah. She's all like,
so
and had all the
So I had like big boy thoughts when I was watching that movie. Is the bad thing about it? Like every time she got a new piercing, I wasn't like, ooh, zombies. I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom again. Like, why is this hitting like all the right nerves with me? It was like it shouldn't have been that kind of movie, but like every time I saw her, I was like, oh my god. Like, why is this doing it for me so badly?
The opening scene where she's laying in the bed is definitely part of the
I want to go to the
Steigert
bathroom now. And it's not just because my prostate is the size of a truck. It's like, I'm thinking about Return of the Living Dead Part 3.
Yeah, but then you're going to really quickly get over that after you see that only scene.
Oh, yeah.
When you...
Okay, so Mark, franchise that should have had a proper sequel or proper sequels, like one that should have taken off.
I'm going to go with a movie that I really enjoyed. I mean, I have to say, Matilda. I wish... Damn it. You read my mind. No. Stuart Gordon's Dagon. I wish they would have been able to do more. Dagon, the H.P. Lovecraft adaptation. I wish they would have been able to do more with that.
Well, I think they were supposed to because they were churning. So most of those films were made from Fantastic Factory, okay, which was Stuart Gordon and Brian Yuzna. They got together because they both worked on the Reanimator series, right? And they got together and they said, hey, we can make movies for like half of what it costs in the States if we go to Italy, because there's this fantastic tax credit there. So they founded Fantastic Factory, and there were a few under that label. Like, I think, what was it, Beyond Reanimator fell under Fantastic Factory. Dagon fell under Fantastic Factory. Faust, the comic adaptation that had Jeffrey Combs in it, that fell under Fantastic Factory. You can always tell because like half the cast is Italian and like half of it's dubbed over. Like they're like, we'll sacrifice the actors, we don't care. But they were making movies for like half of it. So they were supposed to be making all of these more, Lovecraftian movies. But then I think the tax credits changed or something and over a period of like 2 or 3 years, and so they disbanded the production company.
Damn you, Europe.
It's all about
so
the money.
let me just interject for 1 second, because you did a good segue, and I totally missed the mark when you brought it up, was about Return of the Living Dead. I have actually really tried as of late to campaign to somehow find out who has the rights to that, to possibly make a part 6. Like, I have really been trying to find out people that maybe have the license for it. And like, I have this concept that I would like to bring Tom Matthews back and everything again.
Of course, yeah.
So I like, if anybody is watching this out there and knows how to get those rights or who to contact, like, Sci-Fi has done it. They're over with it. It's somebody else. Like, let another indie guy take over and try and make something with it.
Let's do it, Adam. Let's find out.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
I want to make Return of the Living Dead Part 6.
Let's find out who this is. Let's find out what it's going to take. We'll find it out.
I agree. Or maybe we just spell return wrong and get the cast members from the original to come back and then just be returned.
Rerun of The Living Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Something like that. So that's interesting, Mark. So I'll tell you mine real quick. I don't spend much time on it. I have a place in my heart for Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. Like, I really like that movie because it's so weird. Like, when it came out, so that came out in like 87, right? And it was a movie about this group of researchers finding out like an alternative history of the devil. And like the son of the devil is in this fucking like flask in the bottom of this weird rundown church that's like in the ghetto, right? And they run all these, like they do all these scientific tests, and like there's this alternative history thing going on. But at the same time, they're receiving these transmissions from the future that's causing them to have dreams about the day the Antichrist actually appears. Like, it's like anybody watching the 87 was like, I don't know, man, this guy getting a fucking hockey mask on. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So it was a weird time to like put a movie that was like a high concept movie out, especially with Carpenter's name on it. But I always liked this idea of these people were dreaming of this day in the future where the Antichrist was real and had sort of taken hold and was out in the world. And I thought, fuck, wouldn't that be like a cool sequel or a series where like it's this band of resistance fighters against like the devil? And, you know, of course my teen brain was like, that's going to be the most awesome thing ever. You know, now I'm kind of like, that's pretty stupid. But it's like... because, you know, they'd all have horrible nicknames, and, you know, it would basically be like the Colonial Marines. Like, there'd be a really tough girl, and then a guy that's got a level head, and somebody just says game over, man, over and over again. But anyways, like, in my head, I thought it was pretty kick-ass.
Oh, yeah, Bill Paxton.
I know.
I'm sad now.
Yeah, I know. Spill a little of my beer to Bill Paxton. Or just because I don't have good hand-eye coordination, whatever.
I feel like I'm lacking. I have water I'm drinking.
That's my go-to.
Yeah,
I'm about...
I've got my red rum here, but I have not gotten into... You know what?
Yeah, just do it.
Why not?
Yeah.
You're halfway through the show. Get it done.
I changed my diet like a few months ago where I'm at like 70 to 90 ounces of water a day. Like, I'm just drinking incredible amounts of water. So if I get like my 70 ounces, then I get like a Sprite. It's horrible. It's like the worst carnival at all. It's it's like that's the game I play. Like 70 ounces, you get a Sprite. I'm like, oh shit, I want the big bunny. But it's sort of what I get. Yeah.
But speaking
about,
of,
go ahead.
I was going to say, since we're going into the realm of sequels and whatnot, something that was brought up before the show, Doctor Sleep.
Wait. Before Doctor Sleep, and I'm not trying to piss anybody's cheers. Before Doctor Sleep. Now, Adam, did you confirm that you were able to talk about a certain thing tonight?
I am able. I am able.
Okay, so before we get into Doctor Sleep,
yes,
we've got something that we set up very special for Adam, and I hope you can hear this, because this, Adam, is breaking news.
We worked for hours on this.
All right, let's hear this.
Live from Night Terrors Radio, Adam Steigert with breaking news.
Well, thank you, Ash. On today's breaking news report, we have a release date locally for the Terrific Evil Monsters. We are going to be screening it locally, and we're working on a couple different avenues for it. Right now, the screening date is going to be announced for September 18th, 2021 at 7 p.m. And tickets are going to be going on sale probably after our podcast this evening. So, or by next week. I'm not entirely sure where the schedule is with all that. But it will be happening for those that are locally in Buffalo at the Eastern Hills Mall Theater for Dipson. It will be a 7 o'clock show, and it will be a red carpet event. Now, we are doing something else, too, that is in the making as well, that I can't talk much about, but it also does involve the Terrific Evil Monsters and additional screenings in the future. So that's all I can really say about that at the moment. But there is going to be a theater release, which is awesome. You know, I was very worried that this year we would not be able to do a theater release. I didn't think it was happening. And I'm still quite nervous about it. So I'm hoping people have enough interest in the local area to come on out, support the indie arts, and support these, you know, my this vision here that we've been trying to create for so many years, and the talent involved that brought it to life. I mean, it's not a one-person job, I can tell you that. And these people really need to see it on the big screen and experience that film in its magnitude. So September 18th, Dipson Theaters in Eastern Hills in Buffalo and New York, one night only. And tickets will only be available through online sales. So because of all COVID restrictions and things. So we have to make sure that if you're interested in the tickets, you go to 388studios.com and you get your ticket now. Or maybe later on, maybe tomorrow.
Or maybe in the future.
So you're obviously going to be there, Adam, right? You're going to be there at the premiere.
Yes.
Yeah, is there any possibility we might see other cast or crew members there?
Yes, there's going to be a Q&A, and it's a whole red carpet event. So we're going to have the red carpet rolled out. We're going to have photographers and stuff doing some stuff for us. I'm even considering other things for the event that I can't talk about right now because it's too early. But got some unique things. In this day and age, you have to find uniqueness to try to get the interest. The thing with Buffalo, and it's such a great thing, is we have so many talented people coming to, like, making art now in Buffalo. Buffalo's become a haven for filmmaking. And when people do these little events or big events, however you want to say them, it's a good place to mingle with directors and actors and things of that nature. This is the perfect opportunity to come out and just enjoy a film. Don't overanalyze it. Just come out and enjoy a film like it's supposed to be intended, which is for your entertainment. September 18th, 388studios.com. And that is my pitch. Back to the studio, Ash.
Well, what I'd like to do, Adam, is I'd like to check to see if there are any JetBlue flights running out. If there are JetBlue flights running out and we can get Rob there too, I will see if I can actually make it in September. It's always possible. Dude, that'd be awesome. I would love to be there. That would be a whole hell of a lot of fun.
That'd be awesome. That really would.
This is the part where you punch me in the throat.
Well,
I'm actually.
we're gonna do
I'm
that
in
anyway,
Cape
right?
Cod. I'm in Cape Cod on September 18th.
God.
All right, where's that
Rob.
phone? I got.
Oh,
Listen,
Rob, you're
Ash,
fired.
Ash, you can still come in and hang out with us. You can hang out with all of us. We're gonna probably do some type of after party thing or something. It's in it's like the location is perfect in the city of Buffalo. It's close to everything. If you want to go to Niagara Falls, the American side, unless Canada ever decides to open again, you're welcome to do it. It's like not even a half hour away from where you're at. If I'm pitching it to you,
Rob
then
took
No,
me there.
we-
That's where I thought
we
he was
have
going to
to-
propose.
We have to keep Ash away from Niagara Falls because he really wants to recreate that scene from Superman 2 where he climbs on the other side of the rail and let's go and grabs and let's go until he slips and falls, and there will be no Superman there to save him.
Well,
I'm just very excited about it. So it would be great to see you.
We were already at Niagara Falls, and Rob fell.
Yeah. How hard was it to keep him on this side of the rails?
I think we can
He's like a
truncate that
monkey.
sentence altogether,
Yep.
Mark, and just say how hard was it?
I actually did fall down at Niagara Falls when we were there.
Oh, he did. Rob busted his ass at Niagara Falls. I think my wife busted her ass. I think I was the only person that did no ass busting. And that sounds competitive.
You
That sounds
probably
like,
busted
that
ass
sounds like an
just
Olympic
in a
event.
different-
I was the only person that did no. There was no curling. There was no ass busting.
You probably busted ass just in a different way. You left your stink upon that place.
Well,
Can you imagine?
that close to Canada, you've got to fart in international waters. It's a must.
Well, you know, it's cool. I'm hopefully trying to get some people from, because not everybody that was in the film, like, you know, Kaylee was out your way and stuff,
Yeah.
was as local. So I'm trying to see about bringing, you know, if people are interested in coming in and stuff. The thing is though, man, with being a screening post-COVID, I don't know what to expect. I have no ideas. Nothing. I haven't even personally have not been in the theaters last year. So when I say I'm nervous about screenings, normally we do multiple screenings of our films within a weekend. This is one screening that's 200 and I think 25 seats. So that's the max amount of people that we are going to be having at this one event.
Now, how are things opening up over there, Adam? Because at this point, we are fairly opened up here in Illinois, at least in the Midwest.
I would say we're open up for the most part. But the problem is, I think there's a lot of hesitation in new lifestyles that are preventing people from going out, just going out. I don't go out very often myself.
So here's a hard luck story. So amidst COVID, amidst the fact that I could have contracted this horrible illness, I actually got a flu vaccination that laid me up for a month during COVID. So while everyone is complaining about like the COVID vaccinations, I had a flu vaccination that hit me so hard that my legs and feet were swollen to the point where I could not walk for almost a month. I was like bedridden for the longest time because I had such a severe allergic reaction that by the time the COVID vaccination came out, I was like, hit me.
Wasn't
Give me
that
all
just
you
a
got.
couple months
Seriously,
ago?
I've been through it. Huh?
Wasn't it just a few months ago?
Yeah, it was horrible. Like I
Yeah,
couldn't
I
do
remember
anything.
that.
Like seriously, my feet were so swollen, my legs were so swollen that I couldn't put shoes on. like I was hobbling everywhere I went. It caused me to change my entire diet, my sodium intake, everything. We talked about the whole water intake. That's a product of that. Finally, it got back to normal, and at that point, I was like, just inject me with everything you got. Like, Weapon X my shit. I'm fine with it. After this, I think I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, you got that aluminium skeleton salt?
I did. Oh, and
Nice.
hold on. I got to grab this because it's something.
Oh boy.
I'm interested to see what he's wanting to
When-
grab now.
when Ash says I'm gonna grab something, so it's roll the dice.
What do you got there? What is that? It looks like an action figure.
Because
Oh
I'm like
boy.
the action figure guy here. So They actually produced a Wolverine for Secret Wars that had these Black Claw variants that hardly hit anywhere. And so this is my newest addition to my.
Those things are so long.
Right?
There they are.
To this.
Dude, that is bringing back so many childhood memories.
What I got? You ready? I have a Jason John Beebe action figure from my own movie. He has kung fu grip and he has a sword that you can pull out and look at this. Look at this. He can actually do that. Well, he can. Okay. Well, he can't exactly hold it. Oh wait, I'm on the wrong hand. Hold on. I got this. I'm probably gonna break him. Well, just pretend he can hold it. Here, look. Yay!
That looks good to me. Yeah,
right.
no, I like that.
Yeah,
All right.
It's good.
We're doing show and tell.
Ooh.
Boom.
You know, I do have the C-3PO case too, Mark. I won't bring it out yet, but I do have it in storage.
Yeah.
Now, do you have the figures
All right.
in there?
All right. Right here.
This is our Jaws moment right here, right? Isn't this our Jaws moment? Like, I got you beat.
Right.
Oh.
Speaking of the Jaws moment.
Very nice.
I don't know.
Is that also a plush Godzilla behind
it? There's tons of dust. Don't mind the dust.
I've got 2/5 of the take apart C-3PO.
All right. I feel like we've all compared our dick size now. So
I wasn't going to bring out the Iron Studios Dungeons and Dragons animated series statues that I have, though, which are pretty incredible.
I have Resident Evil first gen action figures that was Capcom license. It has like I got the original Tyrant Jill Valentine. Man, I could have pulled that shit out and start showing you.
I think I had those in Illinois.
Now, are either of you a big fan of the first Alien or even Aliens?
Oh yes.
I'm a bigger fan of Aliens because I felt it was more character driven. But yeah, I mean it's cool.
Again, I'm more of a fan of Alien because I like the fact of the isolation and the one-on-one battle that was going on.
Then you're gonna enjoy this, Mark. You will.
Mark, you could have said Aliens 3, and then we would have really had to judge you.
You know, here's the thing with Aliens 3.
Oh, here we go.
It's hard for me to hate that as bad as it is. Hang on. As bad as it is hard for me to hate Aliens 3 because it was directed by one of my favorite directors. That's amazing, Ash.
Yeah, but even directors can make crap.
I know.
I've made crap before.
Yeah. Everything Tarantino did after Kill Bill 1. Yeah, I know. It's David Fincher, and I've got a special spot in my heart for his movies, and so I can't hate on 3 too much. So I look at it like this. So Alien is like hardcore horror, isolated, terrifying movie. Aliens is your 80s action flick. Alien 3 is the music video of this. And Alien Resurrection is that weird art house piece that the strange guy made.
Alien Resurrection isn't terrible, though.
No, it wasn't.
It's a beautiful movie. Like, if you're looking at cinematography and direction, beautifully shot movie. It really is. But it's weird as hell.
Yeah, it's that weird art house movie that the guy that dressed like he just listens to too much Marilyn Manson made.
Well, that was made by Jean and Jean Reno, who did City of Lost Children.
Yeah.
And Delicatessen.
Yeah.
So they've had some weird shit before that.
Yeah. I have to tell you, there's a scene where Sigourney Weaver takes her hand and she like puts it in the hole of who is that? Witherspoon. What's her name?
Reese Witherspoon?
No, not Reese Witherspoon. The girl that played in Beetlejuice.
Winona Ryder.
Yes.
Yeah.
She puts her fingers in the hole that she got shot in. And it's like
so
all this milk is shit. I know. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know if it would be like. I didn't know if that was something that was too fetishy for me or whatnot.
Oh,
but
no.
I actually,
No, we park our cars in the
There's that
same garage,
sequence-
Adam Steigert.
all right, then there's a scene where the alien is in the water. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That is an awesome shot, an awesome scene where it swims and it kills that. I think it kills somebody, maybe a woman. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kills some.
It's my least revisited of the series, and not because I hate it, because, like, generally, I'm kind of that guy where, like, I'll take a really shitty Lord of the Rings movie as compared to a no Lord of the Rings movie. Like, that's just the way I am.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take a retarded facsimile of something I like compared to nothing of it. Like, I'll just take what I can get. And that's sort of how I've been with Alien
On
movies.
that note, what did you guys think of the two most recent ones?
Oh.
It was Prometheus and
Well, we call my wife's vagina Prometheus in this house. Maybe it's too much information, but we do it. Covenant, because you remember. Let me just explain why I think it's a Prometheus, okay? And this stands for vagina in general. I love vagina. Don't get me wrong. But there's a scene where the snake thing comes out and it sticks, and it has these teeth and stuff, and it jumps onto something, and I'm like, ever since I seen that, I'll tell you what, man, I'm scared of it. I'm scared.
It's vagina dentata all over again. It's
a Prometheus.
It's those horrible rumors we heard when we were kids.
That was
just like people say you're going to go blind. And I'll tell you one thing, Mark, that doesn't happen to anybody.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get too personal there, but Prometheus, good movie.
I like Prometheus a lot.
Yeah,
I do too.
For me,
Yeah.
I thought it was an intelligence. Even if it wasn't part of the Alien franchise, I thought it was a very intelligent science fiction movie. I like this idea of what do we have when we have the technology to traverse vast distances and seek knowledge? We try to find out where we're from. I mean, the whole movie sort of made sense to me. That's what we would do. We would try to find out where we're from, why we're here, and our purpose. And I really liked that. I really liked all that. I loved that weird abortion scene. I thought that it was so cringy and cool at the same time.
With the staples?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
And I think Noomi Rapace is so hot. I think she is so cute. Just seeing it, and it's that thing where it's why am I getting turned on by this? I don't know. What happened to me when I was young? I should probably have some kind of hypnotic regression.
It's not as bloody as I thought it could be, but it's gross.
Yeah.
And I think he's the one that said that making good horror films. I think he's the one that said making good horror films doesn't always have to be about blood and guts. It just has to have a gross factor. Or it could be John Carpenter. I mean, it could be getting 12 different directors mixed up. I don't know.
That's fine.
But
it works for anybody, though. But yeah, I really like Prometheus, and I thought that, unfortunately, Covenant, it was sort of this weird bridge movie. It could have been huge. I think with Covenant, it was okay, we've got Prometheus now. Let's go really big for this bridge movie. And I just felt like they didn't really knock it out of the park. It's still watchable for me, but it's forgettable. Where Prometheus is rewatchable for me.
I enjoyed Covenant. I enjoyed Covenant quite a bit. Prometheus was great too, but
we're still getting a Ridley Scott movie. We're still getting a really good movie with. I mean, let's face it, we're getting a well-directed movie. The actor is
beautiful.
It
looks real.
It's a beautiful movie. The actors in it. I mean,
you still got that H.R. Geiger style to it.
It's definitely more in theme, I think, than where the franchise was going. They did bring it back, but it's weird, man. Audiences are weird about intelligent science fiction. They really are in this country, and I wish we sort of had more people that really liked intelligent science fiction. But it's once the characters put the guns away, it seems that Americans start to lose interest.
Yeah. And that's a whole topic in itself. I could go on and rant about if you prefer, but I think that's a different podcast.
It's a different podcast altogether. But yeah, man, there was a lot I like about those movies. Like I really like about those movies, and genuinely, I think that to me, Prometheus and Covenant feel more, even varying degrees of their success, feel more like Alien and Aliens than anything that came after it. Like it feels more part of a whole. Like Alien 3 to me, even though I like it, like I do like Alien 3, I think it's a well-directed movie. There's parts of it where it's a side quest movie. Like it does feel that way. It's like, we're on this planet in the middle of nowhere, and we've got these guys that are prisoners, and they're sort of like religious zealots. Like 3, I really like the first like 25 minutes of 3. Like that first 25 minutes, I'm like, ooh, this is something. And then after that, it just becomes a movie that maybe doesn't, I don't know, it just becomes this weird movie that maybe to me doesn't really fit in the whole scheme of Alien, but it's something.
I think it was more the studio that ruined that one.
Well, and
than
hasn't
David
Fincher spoke
yeah.
out about that like quite a bit, that there was so much pressure on this movie. I mean, where do you go after aliens? Like, let's face it, like, for science fiction action, and this is where I agree with Adam wholeheartedly, Aliens brings it on every level. Like, if you, even as a guy, if you don't walk away from that film pregnant because of all the testosterone in it, you did not watch Aliens.
No.
I mean, at the end of it, you're like, I'm in my third trimester. This movie just like pumped me full of testosterone.
Well, you know where it could have gone? Because what I think is it went back to the original formula. It needed to make its own formula. And you had the first one isolated. You had the second one isolated, but now you're on this like compound on a world.
Mm-hmm.
And the next one should have been them coming to Earth. Yeah. It should have been them coming to Earth, and there should have been some type of big battle-ish, big scale. This is where we're going with it. Not to go back to the little. Let's go to this little spaceship and then let's call it a prison with monks.
Right. It's like, we'll just let the aliens impregnate us. I'm like, that's not the way it works. You don't do that. It's so scary. They ram that ovipositor down your throat, and you're like, that's a violation.
A few years back, me and a friend of mine. Now, remember, Ash, when me and you did that little drinking game with the Nightmare on Elm Street?
The one we were never to talk about ever again, Mark? Is that the one?
Yes, where we drank every time a character died, and we got through 1 and 2 fine, and then 3 just wrecked us.
3 was horrible. 1 and 2, we were like, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake. We're going to make it through the entire Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. 3 came along, and we were like, I'm poisoned. I've been poisoned.
Yeah.
Part 3.
Now, 3. Which one's 3? Is that Dream Warriors?
Yes.
Dream Warriors. Yeah.
I had no idea there was that high of a body count in Dream Warriors.
Me and a friend of mine did something similar to that with Aliens. And we got to the part where they found the alien hive.
Oh, that's bad news.
And literally,
yeah, you got to find a sponsor for that. You got to find a sponsor right away.
Yeah.
Dude, I was in meetings by the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's like by the next movie you've got a chip. Like, that's how fucking drastic the stakes turn in Aliens.
But now a good series that was derailed heavily. I'm a huge fan of Resident Evil. Yeah. I was okay with the first one. Mm-hmm. I wasn't happy with it. I didn't want that version of the film, but I was okay with it. Second one came along, had the Nemesis in it. And I was like, yes, Nemesis, but he doesn't have the hand thing.
You're right.
And it really, the story seemed to change a lot more. I feel like at the end of Resident Evil 1, they built up that epic shot. You can see that's where the money went. It was a matte painting of what's her name in the middle of a street with a shotgun.
Yeah.
And then you get the sequel. The sequel feels epic, but the story feels a little meh. It's just not there. I don't know how you feel about the Resident Evil series, but then it just kind of goes down.
I wish we would have got what was originally supposed to happen and get the freaking George Romero treatment on. Dude, I read part of the script that he had for that. It was the game. It was amazing. It was the game without the cheese.
He shot footage for the game.
Yeah. There was no
for Biohazard.
Oh, you were almost a Jill sandwich. There was none of that kind of cheese in it. But it was just Romero awesomeness.
Okay, so I got a question for you guys. This is a general film question. So, which film for
Hang on,
you?
I-
Zombies on motorcycles.
This can be horror or otherwise. Which film for you
Keep in mind,
guys?
movie.
Rob
I
is like the
think you
phantom in the
heard a voice in
background.
the background.
Well, yeah, I wanted to give you my movie that just never got the sequel that it needed.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
I wanted to see what happened after Fallen, the Denzel
Ooh.
Washington movie.
That's a deep dive. I like
I
that.
wanted to see
I like that a
because
lot.
if you remember, it starts out with, "Let me tell you about the time I almost died," and then it goes into the movie, and the ending is the beginning.
Yeah.
But you never really find out what happened to Basil afterwards.
And that's an underrated movie, Rob. Like, I've always loved Fallen. I mean, you've got Denzel Washington, you've got John Goodman, you've got the guy who played the serial killer.
You know, I don't know if I saw Fallen.
Oh, Mark.
Oh,
You didn't see Fallen?
I don't think so.
It's a good one.
Is
Is on my side.
Was
Yes,
it-
it is
was-
now.
God, I want to. I wasn't. God, who was that actor, Rob?
He's not Stabler in SVU, is he?
I can't remember the actor's name.
Uh,
But that also had.
it's a Christopher Maloney lookalike.
I can see the reflection on Adam's eyes. He's on IMDb already.
I'm going for him, man. I don't know who you're talking about.
But okay.
Oh, Donald Sutherland? Is it Sutherland or James Gandolfini?
Well, he was
God, there were so many great
James
actors in
Gandolfini was
that.
one of the cops.
Yeah, there's tons
Donald
of good
Sutherland
people.
was the. But no, we're looking for. It wasn't Christopher Maloney. It's a guy that looks exactly like Christopher Maloney.
Right, and I always think of Anthony
what's-
LaPaglia, even though it wasn't Anthony LaPaglia.
Was he a killer?
He was a serial killer.
Yes.
Oh, then is that the Frank Mandrano? The big guy?
No. God, it was. What
No.
is his name?
Well, whatever. I don't know.
But speaking of
I tried.
Denzel Washington movies. Oh, Ash is going away again. But speaking of Denzel Washington movies that should have gotten a sequel, Book of Eli.
Yeah, that
that
could
was
have been a cool one.
amazing.
Sure, that'd have been fun.
Even if it wasn't the same character, just another character in that whole world. Because it reminded me so much. I love the Fallout video games. That's like one of my favorite video game series of all time. I got like Vault Boy right here, and it just reminded me of that game series, of that whole post-apocalyptic. The bombs have gone off. I got another one right here. Light up, Vault Boy.
Oh, that's cool. Now, Mark, have you ever seen the David Fincher show, Manhunter or Mindhunter?
Mindhunter. No.
I would recommend that hugely. Huge. It's on Netflix. There's 2 seasons. It's one of the best well-written shows I've ever seen in my life.
Huh. I'm surprised I've not heard of it.
I've got a trivia question for you that brings us
Who is-
all the way back full circle to Fallen
Ah,
and Evil Dead. So what is the connection between Fallen and Army of Darkness?
The Home Shopping Network.
Nope.
Oh, wait, no, that was Evil Dead 2.
It's not S-Mart. Shop smart. Shop S-Mart. So, one of I think it was the daughter of someone involved in everything was played by the actress M. Beth Davids, who was Sheila in Army of Darkness. She doesn't do a lot of movies, but when she does, fairly recognizable. So Sheila, I may be bad, but I
I
feel
didn't-
good, was in Fallen.
Wasn't she in a Spielberg flick, too?
I don't know. I don't know that connection. I know the Fallen connection.
Did we find out who the actor was in Fallen that played the serial killer? I'm driving. I can't look it up.
we've given that quest a big fail. There's a couple of them here. You could go with. I mean, there's actually somebody called Charles Killer I don't know who that is. If that's the guy, that's that Frank guy. There's Robert
Elias
Joy.
Cochis.
What?
That's it.
Oh yeah, he's the guy from Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, Elias Cochis. That's our guy.
That is him.
And M. Beth Davis played Greta
He was a
Milano
big-
in that movie.
Oh yeah, she's in Schindler's List.
Yeah, of course. Everybody knows Schindler's List.
Wow, it's a holiday classic.
It's my wife and my first movie.
Really?
Yes. I'm like, hey, you want to date? You want to do a date night? And we were like, okay, what? I'm like, let's watch something serious. Let's watch Schindler's List. She's like, yeah, this is great.
Okay, I've got another
This is
question for you
sexy.
guys. We're going to dig deep tonight, guys.
Ooh, deep. Come on, hit me with something
Worst horror movie to seal the deal on. So we're talking about date night. What if, so you're there, you're with the girl, she's got a very nice perfume on. You have just showered. That's the equivalent of a guy's nice perfume. You just showered. She smells particularly nice.
I'm gonna go first here, and I'm just gonna like destroy everybody. I spit on your grave.
Oh, that'll stop things dead in its tracks. Try to move things into the bedroom with I spit on your grave. Not going to happen.
There's a couple movies out there, man, that I can't sit through anymore. I'll tell you, just to be cliche, because people all know what it is the Saw franchise. Some of the Saw movies, I cannot sit and just stare at it and be like, oh, this is so great. Look at how they did that. This is awesome. I can't do that. I can't do that.
I enjoy the Saw movies, but I have a huge problem with all of them after the first one.
The second one, I think the second one's okay.
Oh no,
But
I
yes, I agree.
I enjoyed the entire series. But I have one huge problem with all of them after the first one is that none of the traps are escapable.
Yeah. No
All
one ever escaped. No one ever escaped.
All of the ones in the first one, if you wanted it bad enough, you could get out. But from the second one going forward, because of, and it's probably part of the story because it switched from him doing the traps to the girl doing the traps and being like the background, in the background. She did not set up any of the traps to where you could escape, even if you wanted
now
to.
We're talking
even
about
if you were willing
Shawnee
to
Smith, right? Or Shawnee.
Yes.
Who else is a huge fan of Chuck Russell's The Blob?
I made a movie because of the Blob remake.
How awesome is that movie?
Amazing. It's probably it is one of the best movies of all time. People don't talk about it no more. It's like almost a forgotten film now.
It is.
It's terrible.
In my opinion.
I mean, it's a great movie, but it's terrible. People forget.
If you've got a horror movie debuting in the summer with some money behind it, because it had some money behind it, Chuck Russell's The Blob should have been the epitome of horror summer blockbuster. It had all the elements to me.
Yeah. Did it fail?
It just sort of came and went. Like, it had a really good opening weekend, but then it just didn't have any steam behind it. But man, that movie's rewatchable for me.
Oh yeah, for sure. That kid in the water, when he comes out of the water and he's all like,
yeah,
like he's done.
Like, that was before we really had, like, that was, like, God, I think that was another movie that came out in 87. Like, that's a body horror movie before we knew what body horror was. And then, like, in the late 90s, we're like, oh, body horror. And I'm like, take a look at Chuck Russell's The Blob. Like, that's body horror. That was crazy.
That kid in that movie, he reminded me of the kid from Return of the Living Dead Part 2. Think about it. Think about his shirt.
It's the kid. It's the same actor.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
That's probably why.
Oh, my God.
We're coming back full circle on everything we've talked about tonight.
So the moral of the story is
Except
about Return of the Living Dead Part 6.
It is, yeah.
Except Dr. Sleep. We seem to have pushed that off into a pocket.
Okay, so we're going to hit our crescendo. We're going to come back. So our thoughts on Dr. Sleep. Now, Rob is very opinionated on this. As I saw Dr. Sleep with him, I was coming off of a flight to Rochester and snored horribly through that movie because I was so tired I could not keep my eyes open. I hear that people were throwing popcorn in my mouth. I'm not for sure if that's been verified or not. But at one point, I fell asleep, and I had one of those like microsecond dreams, where you've just barely closed your eyes, but you have like an hour-long dream. Anybody else had that, where it's like this weird, like time paradigm shift?
Yes.
And
Yes,
in
with the
my
Prometheus.
dream, people in Dr. Sleep were calling it the Shinning from Simpsons.
The Simpsons.
And not The Shining. And then I woke up and I was like, what the fuck are they? I can't believe they're calling it The Shinning. And I had no idea what was going on until later when I finally get to watch the movie from beginning to end. So Rob has some very definitive thoughts on Dr. Sleep that I think might contrast with some of ours. Are you still there, Rob?
I am still here.
So tell us your thoughts on Dr. Sleep.
Remember when I said that Ready Player One was a giant piece of shit of a movie?
Yes.
I do remember that.
Dr. Sleep is the toilet paper that you used after that giant shit of a movie, Ready Player One.
That's a bold statement, Rob.
Disgusting.
It is, Rob.
It is one of the most disgusting rapes of a novel I've ever seen. It is disgustingly ripped apart. The book, I'm not even sure how Stephen King let that even. I would watch Maximum Overdrive again before I watch Dr. Sleep again.
Hey, Maximum Overdrive was awesome.
Well,
all right, side note.
Because this is an arena of friends, Rob, I'm going to let you tell us how you really feel about it.
I waited and waited and waited for Dr. Sleep to come out. When I heard that he was writing a follow-up to The Shining, and it was all going to be, Danny's life as an adult, and I read that book, I was blown away by it. It was an incredible book. The movie and the book, there's maybe two things that are the same. Danny Torrance's name, and what it's sort of a disgusting sequel to The Shining. And
Rob,
The Shining
you didn't accidentally buy tickets to Christopher Robin instead, did you?
No. I watched. I sat there and threw popcorn at Ash's head for half an hour. As except because the movie did not hold my interest at all, not even slightly. It was horrible.
All right, so now that we got Rob's wrong opinion out of the way.
Ooh.
That's fighting words right there.
Look at the low blow from Gray coming in.
It's not my fault he has no taste.
I personally really enjoyed it. I did have one small qualm with it, is that the girl that's supposed to be the main villain was way too hot for her own good, and it goes back to like the thoughts that Ash was having from Return of the Living Dead 3. I was having while watching Dr. Sleep whenever she'd come on, and
embrace those thoughts, and I mean embrace them.
She was distractingly hot.
Rose the Hat in the book is supposed to be the hottest woman that has ever walked the face of the earth. That is
mission
Rose
accomplished.
The Hat in the book.
Mission accomplished.
She's supposed to be so dazzlingly beautiful that she is able to convince the rubes, the normal people, of just about anything.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. She was like hand in a blender hot. Like, that's how distracting she was. Totally. Okay, Adam. Let's get you to chime in on this.
Okay. First off, Dr. Sleep, the movie, is a very well respected movie to The Shining. Now, The Shining has its own problems. We all know that it's not exactly the book, okay, but it is the movie that we're referring to. And I think the director of Dr. Sleep was very faithful into. There you go, Red Rum. Very faithful to Stanley Kubrick's, if I'm saying his last name right, directorial piece, but was also able to take liberties based off what the book did. Now, do I agree there are things with the book that are not in the movie that didn't work right? Yeah, of course. This is just somebody else's interpretation to what was put in that book. Now, Robbie, if he directed the film, may have the hottest woman there. She was okay. She wasn't bad to look at. I really wasn't really looking at her as a hot woman by the time she was on screen. I was more like, this woman's evil and probably old as shit. And I want nothing to do with her.
That usually fills my criteria.
But I think the scene with the kid getting killed was intense.
Yeah.
I thought it was probably necessary to tell that story and keep it moving, but it was very intense to watch a little kid like that, even for the subliminal stuff that they did with it. So that was kind of hard to watch, but I understood it and I appreciated it. As far as the overall tone, I didn't really read the entire book. I read little notes, little pages and clips from the book, so I don't really know what to compare it to. But the first film, I'm just glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't make Jack Nicholson completely not part of it. I mean, I know he isn't part of it, but I'm glad they kept certain features. Like they shot him on a side angle. You know what I mean?
So
they shot him.
Who the
from
actor actually is, because when we find out who the actor actually is, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, I know who he is. He's the guy that was in Frost Nixon.
And E.T. Henry Thomas.
And E.T. Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
Who is it?
Henry
Wow.
Thomas.
Henry Thomas.
Wow.
Elliot from E.T.
Isn't that crazy?
I really liked him in Suicide Kings. That was a
He's
good
a
one.
really good actor, doesn't get a lot of credit. I think he was also really good in the Haunting of whatever that was on Netflix.
Oh, The Haunting of Hill House. Yeah, that was
Yes.
good.
Ash,
Rob
have you ever
probably hates that too.
seen
God,
Mindhunters?
Right for the throat, huh?
Have you ever seen Mindhunters on Netflix?
It's watched
David
the
Fincher.
first couple episodes, loved it, and then just forgot it existed, which happens to me
There's
often.
2 seasons. There's 2 seasons, and they let go of everybody in their contract. But there's word that because of Netflix with the streaming, may be trying to rejuvenate the series. I highly recommend it. It's like the #1 show I could recommend for you to watch.
What I saw, I really liked. And it's also got that actress from Fringe, who I also really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And it has so many unique things to it. It feels like, in the 90s, everything was like, watch out for the guy with the black sunglasses and the weird haircut and the nicely, you know what I mean? It was like a very stereotypical type of genre story. It was so good, very well written.
and like I like that so much. I mean, I'm an unabashed, unapologetic X-Files fan. Like I love the X-Files
Aren't
for
we all?
everything it is. Like just a series that appealed to everything that I enjoyed about monsters and about, like clandestine government stuff. Like I absolutely loved the X-Files. And I even
And he
liked
really
Fringe
wore out that
because it
magazine
had the
that
same
Gillian
elements.
Anderson on the cover too.
What'd you say?
I say you really wore out that magazine that had Gillian Anderson on the cover too.
Yeah, I was a little overzealous back then in the day, undoubtedly. It's a light way of putting it, yeah. But it's also and I think that was a big turn. We had a lot of like final girls in the 80s, right? Late 70s, early 80s through late 80s was the final girl, like the girl whose chastity and virginity kept them alive. But then we got into the 90s, and we sort of got like these badass chicks, right? Like the 90s was sort of like, oh, embrace your femininity and embrace the fact that you can be like a man, but as a woman, and you can be tough and you can defeat like the villain based on your own merit, right? And I think the 90s really appealed to me. Like, Scully is like, God, how badass is Scully? I mean, how many times did Scully really like bring up the rear and save Mulder's ass? Like, Scully was awesome.
Constantly.
That red hair.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of 90s, and there's a lot of actresses that got shit on pretty bad throughout the 90s, I feel, that were like let's just talk Terminator 2 for a second.
Yeah.
Who's the main woman of Terminator 2?
Linda Hamilton.
Linda Hamilton. why didn't we see her in more bigger budget films? She was a badass actress. I mean, Terminator 2. I mean, we saw her in stuff, but I mean, why wasn't she like plastered everywhere?
But she should have
Because
exploded.
nobody wanted to mess around with James Cameron's wife, or else he'd send a fucking Terminator after her.
Yeah.
But she was right there besides Arnie. Like, she should have been huge after that movie. She should have exploded, but in everything that we saw.
Yeah. There's other actresses out there. We could name several other ones, and some I can't even name because I can describe them, but I can't tell you, you know, much more. Like Shawnee Smith. If it wasn't for Saw, I would never have made the. See, there you go. If it wasn't for Saw, I would have never made the connection with the Blob remake. You know what I mean?
So you know, who should have had a bigger career was Fairuza Balk.
Oh.
I don't know who that is.
She was the crazy one in The Craft.
Yeah, she was also in Return to Oz.
Return to Oz when she was real young.
Island of Dr. Moreau. She's had a pretty great track run.
Yeah, but she would just pop up every now and again. Like she was the girlfriend in American History X.
I think she started the crazy equals hot ratio in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Like when you think of crazy
I didn't watch
equals
The Craft
hot,
for the story.
You know what, guys? We've had like the quickest night, seriously. Like I always think that our show is literally the quickest night of podcasting on the internet. It always feels like it to me anyways. It always feels
up on 2 hours.
It always feels like it to me. I've had a great time tonight. So before we go, Adam, and I gotta appreciate you being on because we've had such fun with you being on. Like you need to be here in Illinois. You're gonna be here for 3 days, or was it 4 days, 5 days, whatever, 3 days. We definitely need to get together.
3 or 4 days. We should.
Let's talk to people about the premiere real quick, where they can get tickets, where they can see what you're doing, and then let's have a few moments off the air so that we can continue our bromance.
Please, I'm all about you stroke me, I'll stroke you. You know what I'm saying? We gotta take turns.
Well, and that's why you only pay half for it.
I'm just teasing. You know, it's good to be with you guys because you guys are the same like cloth as me. You know what I mean? And I appreciate that. So thank you for having me on again, as always. So just to recap about the film, we are officially announcing that September 18th we will be screening the film at the Dipson Theater at Eastern Hills Mall in Buffalo, New York. Now, the seats are limited. It's only one screening, and you have to pre-order the tickets online. You can also pre-order now the DVD. Now, this is going to be launching like as soon as we're done talking. My partner is finishing up the final touches on it as we speak. So it's going to be announcing on our Facebook. You'll see it everywhere for the next 2 months. You're going to be probably annoyed with me. Needless to say, it's going to be a fun event. It's a red carpet event, dressed to impress type of thing. There's going to be some photographers there, banners, the red carpet, the whole 9 yards.
Are we going to see Adam in a tux?
In a tie, yes. In a tux,
no.
No, but it will be pretty close to a tux. When I do premieres, I make it look official.
All right.
So I'm excited about that. And I'm coming out to LA in a couple of months. Hopefully Mark and I will be able to meet up too. But yeah, it's going to be a great event. We're looking at some other awesome things, but it's just too soon to say what those are. And then come probably end of September, early October, we will have venues where you can watch the film, stream it at all. I don't want to say what the venues are, but one of the big ones is it's going to be on YouTube. So you're going to be able to stream it on YouTube and stuff. You can watch it right now on YouTube if you become a member of our channel, Indie Adam, which is what I'm representing here.
Yeah.
And we have it on Vimeo. That's all I'm going to say it is right now. It is starting to grow in other places, but until we have everything full capacity, I'm not going to mention all of them. But needless to say, I hope you come out. And Ash, if there's a way we can get you out here, man, that would be really cool.
I think it's very possible.
I'll buy you.
I think it's very, very possible.
I'll buy you half a beer at Applebee's. How about
that? That's how easy of a sell I am. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, I mean we got to split it because the talls are big.
Yeah, true,
I'm just.
Well, we urge everyone to track down if they're able to watch it, when they can watch it, where they can watch it. Definitely follow what Adam's doing next. As always, you can follow what we're doing on horror-fix.com. We're on there all the time. And I just want to say thanks to everybody for watching tonight. Thanks for Adam coming on. And we will see you guys again next week. Thank you so much. www.horror-fix.com. Have yourself a great night.